Are you struggling with learning a new programming language or a computer science subject like machine learning? It often takes more time, and if you don't apply them in your work, you start to forget what you have learned. I have personally experienced this struggle many times. Over the last 5 years, I have experimented with dozens and dozens of strategies to boost my learning productivity. I believe that productivity learning is one of the most important skills we can develop and cultivate in this world, especially in the field of software engineering. Being a quick learner in this domain allows you to stay ahead and tackle challenging problems effectively. It's not just about outperforming others, it's about optimizing your time and creating mental space for yourself. In this video, I will share my 3-way enforcement method for productive learning, backed by scientific principles. You can find a template mentioned in the video description, which are provided completely for free to help you incorporate these practices in your learning process if you wish. So, this aspect of this learning method was a total game changer for me. In 2020, I completed the course Learning How to Learn by Barbara Oakley and began incorporating the chunking method into my learning process. Chunking is like organizing information into smaller or more manageable chunks or groups to ease the load on your working memory. Now, working memory is a cognitive system responsible for temporarily holding and manipulating information needed for immediate tasks such as problem solving, decision making. It plays a crucial role in your ability to process and retain information in the short term. Scientific studies indicates that adults have only 4 to 5 slots of working memory. When you focus on one area or topic, it occupies one working memory slot, leaving other slots unused or not used effectively. Chunking is a technique that involves dividing information into meaningful groups, allowing you to utilize other working memory slots effectively, reducing the burden and facilitating faster recall. Let me demonstrate the power of chunking with a simple example. Suppose you need to remember this number. You could try recalling each individual digit, which would take time and be more challenging. Alternatively, if you break the number down into chunks like 937, 372 or 6267, you can easily remember and later recall them by joining the chunks. Isn't it fascinating? And do you know, you have already used this technique in your learning process. In chemistry, if you want to learn periodic table, there is only one way, is that you need to chunk it down in a smaller bit, and then only you can able to remember and recall them later. Okay, that sounds interesting with the simple examples. However, when dealing with more complex topics like machine learning, how can I effectively apply this chunking and group things? Initially, I struggled to use chunking for the same reason. Nevertheless, after several attempts, I discovered that spending just 25 minutes to review blog posts, course syllabus, book indexes, providing a high level idea of the topic, offering a bird's eye view that made it easier to break the material in a smaller chunks. With the availability of the ChatGPT, this process is now even shorter, like 5 to 10 minutes max. By asking a few questions, you can receive a structured overview of smoother learning. Here are 2 questions to get you started with ChatGPT in no time. Explain your topic like a 5-year-old can understand. Replace the topic with your chosen topic. For example, if I wanted to learn machine learning, I can ask ChatGPT, explain machine learning like a 5-year-old can understand. That will give you a best summary about what is machine learning is. Now, coming to the next question, which will give you a better understanding and breaking down of your main topic. Create a topic, your topic, study plan with chunking and explain the content in each chunks. Don't limit yourself to these questions. Break down the individual topics even further and start learning. If you still find that the topic intimidating, and then break it down even more. If you're feeling that you are learning something new from this video and believe that others can benefit from it as well, Please show your support by liking this video for the YouTube algorithm. Now we will take a look where chunking fits into the overall learning process. Learning occurs through two processes: information intake, where we feed new information to the brain, and information retrieval, where we recall and apply the learned knowledge. Chunking is a method that aids in the information intake process. Are you struggling to organize and connect the key concept from multiple chapters or subjects to improve your understanding and retain during the learning process? Now, before jumping into the answers that will help you solve the problem, let me share my story with you. I believe it essential because it serves an analogy to better understand the concept. In 2011, when my father bought me a laptop with 250 GB hard disks, I was thrilled because it meant I could download programming tutorial videos for later users, especially since the internet speed was only 10 kbps at that time, making online video streaming a challenge. I spent countless hours downloading Node.js tutorials videos from YouTube. But problem was that they were saved with random file names, making it difficult to find what I need later. Eventually, I gave up on using those files. This situation similar how our brain works. Our brain has the remarkable capacity to store vast amount of data in long-term memory. However, for effective retrieval, organizing and labeling the information is crucial. That is why mind mapping is a valuable technique that takes only 5 to 10 minutes and significantly improve the retrieval process. Let me elaborate how brain retrieves information that gives you a perspective to see things differently. Our brain have neurons. They connected with each other create a neural pathway. As we learn or experience something new, certain neurons pathway are strengthened, creating a connection between different neurons in the brain. These connections, also known as synapses, are the physical basis of a memory storage. Our mind is so complicated. Now, what I am going to tell you is just a metaphorical or analogical way how brain retrieval information works. Our working memory has indexes that easily identify which synapses holds the actual data. These indexes refresh daily. If certain information remain unused for an extended period of time, it gets removed from the index to make room for new, recent and used information. However, accessing to a particular information is not solely depending on the working memory index. Each neuron has its own indexes to remember related neurons. This is why when you see someone after 10 years, you can immediately recall long forgotten memories. Our mind mapping idea especially create these neuron indexes. So even if you forget something while working on things, it can automatically come back to you. Here is how you can apply it in your learning process. After you learn a topic or anything new, place it in the center of a piece of paper. Then think of anything else that is some way related to the or uses this concept and write them down around the center. You can use colors, images, keywords to stimulate memory and enhance understanding. This method makes it easier to recall information and visualize the relationship between different topics. You remember, after explaining the chunking method, I demonstrated how it fits into a learning process, the overall learning process, which is known as hierarchical mind mapping. These two mind mapping creation methods are the most common ways, but you have the flexibility to organize things as you prefer, as long as you can effectively structure your understanding. In a broader perspective, mind mapping plays a role in the information retrieval process. This technique is especially useful when you need information to come to mind effortlessly while solving a specific problem. Are you finding difficult to retain and apply knowledge effectively when studying a subject despite putting significant effort? I distinctly remember how I used to cram before exam during school and university days. It is very ineffective way of learning. If you want to remember and retain anything for a long time, you need to practice it. If you memorize things before the exam, by the time you reach the exam, you forget 50% and become nervous and lacking confidence. And after 2 days, you forget everything. Have you ever wondered why that happened? It all comes down to the forgetting curve in learning, a concept developed by Hermann Ebbinghaus, a German psychologist in late 19th century. The curve shows that after learning new information, our memory retention starts to decline rapidly, especially during the initial hours and days. However, with regular and spaced out review or practice sessions, the forgetting curve can be flattened. We can retain the information for longer period. The key takeaway is that consistent and timely review is crucial for effective long-term retention of learning materials. That is precisely what we aim to achieve with this interleaved practice. However, one challenge we face is forgetting to practice and getting carried away with different learning topics altogether. For instance, if you are learning machine learning or cloud to advance in your career, you might not be involved with these topics every day at work. In this type of learning, planning practice session for important topics for the subject, scheduling them in your calendar is essential. Otherwise, you end up constantly learning and relearning in a loop without feeling confident enough to apply your knowledge. Learning is integral part of in our daily lives, and being aware of these concepts and applying them can provide immense value. Just start with chunking and you will notice how enjoyable learning can be again. Now that you know how to learn things productively. If you find it challenging to make time for learning and advancing your career, watch my other video on how to complete 8 hours of work in just 2 hours. It might sound too good to be true, but mastering this one skill yield remarkable result. I hope you find this video valuable. See you in the next video.